She's looking for a cat. All right, guys, here we are. It is Baitman Live time on Thursday night, and I got my new friend, who's also a Tennessee Vol fan, so this is going to work out really good. This is Mr. Bo Stevens to my, I guess, right, left, just depends on how you're looking at it. What's going on, Bo?
What's up? What's up? Glad to be here, Bait Man. This is fantastic.
Yeah, man, so I'm really glad you joined. If you guys don't know who Bo is, he was on Bass Talk Live, what, about 2 months ago?
Yeah, about that.
And Bo has lots of energy. He's got that big bait swag. You know, he loves fishing. He loves tournaments, but he loves the baits.
That's true. I do. And people seem to respond that I kind of embrace the giving the perspective of a fan, because at the end of the day, I'm a participant in the sport, but I'm a fan of the sport, all parts of it. I do like tournament fishing and follow it extremely closely, but that's not the end-all, be-all for me. You know, growing up at my age, some of the best fishermen I knew were not necessarily tournament fishermen, but, you know, I love seeing what comes out of tournaments. But absolutely, I love your show because you dig into the baits and the tackle, and all of us that bass fish.
Well, dude,
We're all
I really
about the
appreciate it, and I was pretty flattered. Not gonna lie, when you were on Bass Talk Live, I made a comment about something, and you point, Baitman knows. You know, I love Baitman, and I watch him all the time. I'm like, dude, that makes me feel cool. And I know Jeffries and Pangrak, they stumble on me every now and then, but that's an awesome compliment. And I'm just a dude that really loves baits, and I wish I could, talk more about them. Obviously, I could. I may have to do something if I can't build any more windows at work soon. So y'all may be getting a lot of bait talk, but I like the fact.
You know, the reality, Bait Man, is that the bass fishing industry is really not that big.
I know.
Like, it's a tight knit group, and I'm being honest, I like that. Some people want to quote grow the sport. I'm fine with the sport. Like, it's good for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. It's something that, and guys, we're going to go way off the page. We're going to talk about baits. We're going to talk about, you don't know what tonight. And I got plenty of time. I don't know how much time Bo's got. I don't know how much time y'all got. But, I always see, whatever it is, to grow the sport. We got to grow the sport. Man, growing the sport's caused a lot of dang fishing pressure on my lake. It's caused me to order baits on Tackle Warehouse that go out of stock like this right here. Speaking of going out of stock, look at this. This is the new 6 cents draw. Just came in.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So that's the draw. I've had this for like a while, and I couldn't show anybody. I mean, strict NDA. Sold out in 30 minutes. It had over 800 pieces in 30 minutes. That's a lot of baits. A lot of $75 baits. Now, this was nice, man.
People couldn't spend their $75 quick enough.
But you talk about grow the sport. If, let's say the sport's not growing, how many of these is 6 cents ordering? How many are they selling? Now, obviously, I think it's a great bait. Some people will get it and they'll make 5 casts and go, ain't for me. It's okay, too. But, social media has really changed bass fishing. But it can also be good, And it's more just growing the sport for me. I want it. Not just, you can grow it, but if you're not educating people along the way, I feel you're kind of letting yourself down. Like, I like, I like watching Hellabass's streams and, like, Debo's fishing some other guy, because they're not just me. I want to shove this down your throat. It's, well, why are you using fluorocarbon on a glide bait? Why not braid? Or why are you using this frog compared to that frog? And why JDM? Why not? So all these people that have grown the sport or grew up with the sport, whether it was the Guggen squad or the B-list Guggens or whoever it is, if they're still into fishing and then they get to that 21, 22-year-old range, they go, it's time I grow up from a Bandito bug and a Cinco. what are some other good Cinco baits? What are some other ways to rig it? And I feel that's the audience I want to capture when they're 22 and up and go, I want to get serious and figure out some different stuff. I'm not sure I'm really growing anything, but I'm trying to educate what's there. That if that makes sense to you.
No, that makes sense. I'll tell you what I do really like. And I have 4 children, and my last one is in high school. She's a senior. But I will tell you this. Her friend group, especially the guys, this middle school, high school, it is cool to bass fish. When I was growing up, that wasn't really, quote, cool.
No,
right?
absolutely
all those guys
not.
are wearing fishing shirts.
I got bullied.
They're wearing all the 6 Sense branded stuff. Like, it's cool to fish. And they know I fish. Like, they want information, and all the content. If you want to learn how to bass fish now, it's never been easier with all the content like yourself and others that people putting out there.
Yeah, it's I remember me and his brother fishes FLW now. Brandon Hunter, he's an FLW pro. Well, his brother and I fished tournaments for a long time in high school. And I would come to school, bring my 884 nitro, and people would look at us and go, y'all are rednecks, you're crazy. You could be out chasing girls or drinking beer or whatnot. We're just going to go fishing. Dude, nowadays, you bring a bass boat to school, you're taking home the prom queen. It's how it is in my place. It's like, dang, man, look at this guy. He's fishing out back in the day. But it's really weird, though. A lot of those people that used to make fun of me for fishing all the time and whatnot, I'll see them out and I'm like, dude, your social media, it's crazy. I looked and you have like 10,000 people on Facebook and 17,000 on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not a big deal at all. And I mean that sincerely. Like, dude, these real guys, they got hundreds of thousands or whatnot. Like, but, oh man, I knew you liked it in high school. I didn't know it was like, dude, my kids fish now and I'm all into it. And you got some baits. I'm like, yeah, man, just come by the house. That it's just weird how it all works out like that. But
it's funny how it comes back around.
Yeah. So I'll ask you, Bo. Let's tell us a little bit about Bo. How you were actually in the industry as a sales rep.
Yeah, so I got a couple stories, but I went to Oklahoma State. I guess I'll back up. I grew up in a household. My dad was a sporting goods rep. He was a manufacturer's rep for Browning Arms Company for 27 years or so, mostly in the Southeast. Then he was in management out in Utah, where they were based at the time. But what a lot of people now don't realize, of course, they know about Browning shotguns. Browning had the Silaflex brand of fishing rods.
Sure do. Got one. David Fritz's name's on
which
it.
And prior to that, and the original Fritz Silaflex cranking rod, which I have some too, were Browning Silaflex rods. Then Browning got sold to Zebco, and so it's different. It's that there's still some Browning fishing tackle branded out there. I don't know who makes it or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, so I grew up in a household where my dad would get samples. So samples would show up on the front door. So just like Baitman Jr., right?
Yeah.
Growing up in that household where you got baits and stuff everywhere. So we loved to fish. My dad, of course, hunted. We hunted too. But he and I both, we loved to bass fish more than anything. And I moved around a little bit in my childhood, which was a blessing because I've grown up fished different parts of the country. So in hindsight, new lakes, that kind of thing. So that was cool. So that's really where I found my love of fishing. But when I worked at a tackle store when I was at Oklahoma State in the summers when I was home in Oklahoma City. Kern Tackle, they were fantastic, family-owned tackle shop, and following his footsteps. So I was a manufacturer's rep with Humminbird for about 7 years right out of college. Great experience. And then I went to work for Ray Murski. You and I kind of visited about that.
Yeah.
So in the Rev business. So that was, and he and John Barnes bought Strike King from Charles Spence. So some of your old heads that watch the show will understand what that's about. And so I kind of lived through Strike King being a spinnerbait and jig company and bowhog pork frog, right?
Yeah, yeah,
To a full line, John Barnes built it into what it is today, really.
yeah. I mean, Strike King, one of the first baits that wasn't a jig or spinnerbait. I remember. Do you remember the Strike King frog? That was like, I mean, it was like two little legs and it what?
Had a weird hook in
Yeah, it
it.
had a weird hook in it. Man, I caught a bunch of fish on that back in the day. It was they.
It was made out of some kind of weird plastic
Yeah,
that it wasn't hollow. It was a weird. I can't remember what that plastic was. It was a weird frog. Yeah.
right. Uh, just want to let guys know. Make sure you hit that like button for me. It's been a while since streaming. YouTube is not sending out hardly any notifications anymore for my channel. I've got them turned on my account, my wife's account, and another one. I've had guys on Instagram say, "Man, you go live, I don't get nothing. I don't see nothing when you upload." So, whatever I've done, YouTube's probably just because I don't upload enough anymore. But make sure you hit the like button, share it out or whatnot, and we'll get this thing rolling. Go let you guys know I'm going to stream again tomorrow night, same time, Friday. I don't like streaming on top of people like Rudd and them, but I figure, hey, I got some days off, I might as well. And then I'll possibly stream Saturday night, and we're going to unbox the Tackle Wheel Awesome. I did get that from Tackle Warehouse, and I've kind of peeped it. And there's some things I like, some stuff I don't like in there. It's interesting, but yeah, the Strike King Grass Frog, that was a really good one. It is, but it's in.
Hey, sidebar, Baitman. Not sorry to interrupt.
No, go.
One
You
thing
interrupt
I do
all
like
you want to, Bo.
I will plenty of times. What I do like about when I watch you, I love it when you tell me what you don't like.
Yeah.
Does that make me a hater? I don't know what that, but I love it when you tell me the good stuff. But I really dig it when you go, you know what? Don't spend your money on this one, because that's what most of us are always looking for. Is like, oh, this is new, this looks good. You talk to your buddies and you try to weed out where you're going to spend your money.
Right. So that was actually a very hard part of working in a tackle shop, and you're in charge of ordering stuff because you got them sales reps that come in here and this is new and this and this and these are going to be your top sellers, and I'm like, dude, those don't sell. Oh, just give it a try. You know how many times? 2 or 3 times I said, yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll give it a try. Guess what? Still sitting there. Like, no offense to the Storm Rapala rep. Remember when the Arashi deep cranks come out? Has anyone ever bought a deep Arashi crank at full price?
About to pile on.
Anyone that's ever bought a deep running Arashi, their deep crankbait, they bought them on a discount bin in Gander Mountain or Dick's Sporting Goods. They literally, every color and both sizes, I had almost all, never sold but one that I remember. And I told the rep, I said, I told you they won't sell. Well, you're just not pushing them. I'm like, dude, I made like 3 or 4 social media posts when they come in, and I've tried selling them, and guys just look at them and said, that ain't it. One, they were priced a little high, but dude, at the time, 6 cents had really come out full-fledged, but it was DT16, it was 6XD, King of the Mountains right there. And then here you go, Storm, they got this bait, the body's bigger, the lips bigger, and what I found out when I threw it, it didn't run good. Their 20-foot diver, I was lucky to hit 15 foot. It pulled too hard. And because of this social internet age, if you put a bait out there and it ain't good, and you get a bunch of negative reviews, it ain't just Tackle Warehouse. It can just be on bass fishing groups, Twitter, Instagram. If you started getting some negative snowballing, it'll sit there. So got to be really, everything's got to be thought out and released well. It's got to be marketed right. And people always say, Baitman, what's the best glide bait? Oh, you'll say 6 cents. No, is this the best glide bait out there? Absolutely not. You know what the best glide bait is? The one you pick up, you catch fish on, and you're confident in. And you know what? I had a good bite this morning on this thing, goofing around. So obviously, I'm a little confident, but Dude, I got some sitting over here to my left that I'm like, dude, those are game day baits. Those are, they're not 6 cents baits. They're, handmade, stuff like that. But then I've got a few I've bought, and I'm like, man, that thing's trash. I don't like bashing anybody, but I just want, I'm a blue collar guy. You work hard, you spend your money. Everybody else on here spends money, and works hard. You want to go waste your money on some Boyd Duckett knockoff? Don't kill me, Boyd.
Oh, here we go.
I know Jeffries and Boyd are big buddies, but dude, if I had his kind of money, I guess I understand. It's like I got a stupid amount of money. I want to make more, so I'll just buy everything. I won't do any R&D. I'll just say I want this bait and this bait and have China replicate it. If I had that kind of money, I would just hire my own people. You got all these MLF pros starving over here. Some people saying they're not even getting their paychecks on time. Hey, you're in charge of developing jerk baits, you and this. We'll call it the MLF Signature Series, and let's actually make some good stuff instead of just, hey, that's a cool looking Lucky Craft. We want some of those.
What a fantastic point. So let me close the loop on something. So yes, I was in the industry, and but then when I started to have a family, I went into medical sales. I bailed out of the sporting goods business. It's a lot of travel. There's a lot of sacrifice. My priorities changed. And so in medical sales, you have a smaller territory. I love East Tennessee. We could talk about that. And the fishing here, I love talking about that. But so I was tied to East Tennessee, could raise my family, not be gone on weekends. So I want people to understand my perspective is nobody sends me free stuff.
Right.
I'm not that guy, right? But I buy what I think will work. And that 6 cents swim bait, the glide bait, might be worth $75 to me because, dude, their paint jobs are sick. I was talking to my buddy Michael today about, I said, so who do you, I said, 6 cents has the best colors, like right now. And he goes, hold on a second, wait a minute, I don't know about, I said, no, and then he rattled off a bunch of JDM companies. I said, okay, yes, some of those are awesome, but I go, look at the whole line and the colors they come out with are ridiculous. That glide bait, I looked at the colors today.
Dude, it looks
when you posted they were dropping. I didn't know they were dropping that. I looked at those colors. There's one gizzard shad that looks unbelievable.
Yeah, 4K gizzard. I really actually like that shad sense, and you know why. And I kind of explained this somewhere. I can't remember if it was Instagram or what. Like, all your handmade resin baits, they're basically one or two colors. None of them have any transparency. Well, you can get this bait in that shad sense color, and it's got transparency to it. You can get some S waivers. Obviously, the S waiver has got some transparent. Great bait, by the way. Very good budget swim bait. But you can't get that in a resin bait or a handmade wooden glide. You can't get any transparency. And there's time and place, I think, something being able to be see-through is really nice. Especially high-pressured lakes, your herring lakes. Dude, Kentucky Lake's pretty clear. And whatever, but, people are like, well, they say, well, I do think 6 cents paint jobs, they still got that custom feel to them. And I know Casey's going to do some special custom runs and this thing right here. And they didn't release all the colors, but yeah.
I've been a little late to the glide bait game. I mean, that's a whole, right? It seemed like there was a whole investment to weed through what's good, what's weird, but the last couple years, I've got some that I have a little confidence in. Have had fish really react. I mean, that gets in your bloodstream. You throw those big baits and you see the biggest fish in the lake start following your bait. That gets your attention, and that's a whole different game there. I have a lot of respect for those guys that commit to that and trying to catch one or two giants instead of worrying about.
Well, I tell you, I'm nowhere a swim bait guru. Ben Milliken had a lot of hands in this, and me and Ben talk a lot, and we talked about this bait years ago. What would you want one to do? And I said, man, you need an affordable depths 250 that has that wide glide to it, but a lot. This has that 250 style glide. Is it a replacement? I don't think so, but It's got a whole different profile. I mean, it's more of a herring profile than a true shad. But dude, right now on my lake, the skipjack are taking over. So, and I'm gonna give a shout out. He's in the chat. Philip Jones. He's the head, I guess, 3D designer there at 6 Cents Fishing. And Philip was actually in their little Facebook, Instagram video. And I know how hard he worked on this. I have pictures on my iCloud of the very first 3D printed of this bait. And for it to go from just a white 3D print to this beautiful bait is amazing. There's a lot of detail on this. And I know they send, Casey hand paints what he wants and he sends it to China. Their factory does a really good job. They don't have too many ins and outs. But I got Philip on another little project you might know something about, Bo, is a little bitty square flat side. A little... We're going to have a flat 55X. Probably going to be out this spring, maybe late winter. But speaking of crankbaits, what is it about East Tennessee? Why do you all got so many guys building crankbaits over there?
Dude, hey, don't. So did you check the most recent MLF up there at St. Clair?
Yeah, OSP.
It was 3 Ray County guys. Michael Neal and Wesley, the W, and Andy, the GOAT, were all top 3 guys all from one county. When did that ever happen?
I don't know. It would have had to been like an old school FLW tournament where like the locals were cherry picking Kentucky Lake. I remember one time I think Moorhead, Mike Terry, and Scotty Young, if you remember Scotty Young, maybe they all made the top 10 or something.
Yeah. But anyway, I just sidebar. Yeah, so East Tennessee is that, homemade crankbait history way back to the Big O, but really, the flat sides and all of that. The one I like is PH Lures, that old school series they have.
Right.
I really like those. I'm not a hardcore handmade flat side guy.
Oh, I am.
Dude, those catch fish. My goodness.
I have a love-hate with PH. I like Phil's baits. I think Phil makes a really good bait. I do not like that it seems like PH copies every other thing that comes out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. See, you know the history better than I do.
Right. And I think Phil's a good guy. Obviously, he's in a business, but he's got the tooling and equipment to do that. There's something different about like a Marty Burns hand card versus Marty's his stuff. It's stuff he's doing for Eric with TKs. And I mean no disrespect to Phil. So Phil, if you watch this, please don't hunt me down, kill me. I like your baits. They work great. But I like to see some originality. I think Rob Cochran there at Jawjacker does a great job. Jimmy Eater, right?
I was about to ask what you thought. Yeah, I see him a lot. His stuff, it's very popular around
Jimmy
here.
Eater right now, if I was going to buy just a straight up balsa builder, I'm going to buy Eater stuff. They look good. His paint's really good. He's still got a classical look, but he puts a new school twist on it. His fulls are good. Dude, Norm Coulter stuff is amazing, but it is freaking hard. It's harder to get a Coulter bait than a win in Florida against the Florida Gators. It's pretty dang tough. If you're involved, maybe I should say Alabama.
Yeah, now that's hard to get.
Well, someone was asking him.
Hey, but
go ahead.
Let's talk for a minute. Let's talk about this. So these flat sides. So now the major companies. Right, so the Fritz side, that's a good. Hey, like it or not, that's a good bait. And what Ott's doing with Rapala, and when he comes out this tiny, I know everybody's and my buddies give me a hard time because I want that smaller one. And Ott will tell you he didn't want to give that one up.
Right.
This next one he's coming out with, that's a little smaller. That for me, that one is going to be the juice. So and they got some good color.
I'll give shout out to Rapala. That let's get the box out right here, boys. This is full of Ott's 6s and my favorite bait, which was before the 6, and you guys know here. It's in here somewhere. So this, this is the DT Flat 3. So that's the DT Flat 3. That was pre-Ott's Garage. But what Ott was doing was taking this bait and putting his own circuit board lip in it, and then moving the line tie off the bill and putting it right here. So if you take an Ott's Garage, now this is an Ott's Garage 06. Ooh, maybe there we go. There's that root beer color. I have to hold it down here for Bo because he's.
Yeah, you got. I can't see it now. I can see it.
So there's the flat 3 on top, and there's the DT6. You can see it.
So that's the one Ott's taking the bill out of and putting a circuit bill in.
So this top bait spawned the bottom bait. So Ott definitely was doing this modification. It's pretty well documented. He was making these baits,
right,
and he gave a couple to Ike and Ellie during the Classic. The dude's leading the Classic, and Ike's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm throwing this here. Have a couple." And then I think Rapal.
Hey, that little spot on Fort Loudon Lake under that railroad bridge is about 1.5 miles behind this window right here.
No kidding.
Where he was catching those. Anyway, we're on that little bait. Yeah.
But that bait's a big bait. And so anyway, Rapal is coming out with a smaller size. So I told Casey at 6 cents about this time last year. I texted him and said, "Man, I got an idea." He said, "What's that?" He's always open. I said, "Dude, you need a flat 55. The flat 75 sells so good. It's a great bait. It's got a huge following. Scale that dude down, get that 55 millimeter size." And he says, "I want to do it. I think that's a great idea. The only issue, I want to make one that size that can cast as well as the 75. Because that's the only thing about those smaller baits, especially the balsa baits, is casting them."
100%, and I could not agree more. I love that flat 75. I throw that, and I love it because you can cast it, and it's heavy. And I couldn't agree more. If he would make one that's got a little weight to it with this and the 6 cents colors, forget about it. That would be a killer. And first guy that wants to test it is me, baby.
Man, I hadn't got one yet. A little birdie told me that they got a couple prototypes and they run awesome, and they're down to color picking. Oh. They're down to selecting colors. Man, one thing I need if you're listening, Philip, you're still in here. One of my favorite colors on the Tennessee River, and I know it sells on your side of the country, is like a spring crawl, yellow, brown back, brown side. That's just that's the deal. Even a Homer chartreuse green back like the old little Petey's used to have. That dirty water cranking. The guys love cranking Douglas Lake and Cherokee with those on the rocks. And a guy said, well, that DT 06, it doesn't have a square bill like the DT flat. So that round bill, and the reason Ott puts the round bill in, they come through rock a whole lot better than a square bill. People are always hanging a square bill on rock. A round bill really deflects way out of that. Whereas a square bill, it bulldozes wood, it gets out of the wood. Round bill, it hangs. So, that's where those guys are good at, is figuring out. And then you got stuff like a coffin bill. It's just, but.
So tell me this. So you talk about Strike King a little bit. So that chick magnet.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see if that's got the same. I mean, I get their story of what they've not, what they quote copied or can't really copy it, but that's what they're doing.
Trying to take a balsa bait and put it into an injected bait.
So I can't wait to see if that's legit, and can you cast it, and does it still have a little wiggle, and does it do the East Tennessee thing it needs to do?
Right. Well, that's the interesting thing. I don't think you can. The story of the Spro Little John is actually, it's a injected bait that's based off the Ronnie B Baby Pig, which is an amazing bait. Ronnie was from Eastern Kentucky, made a heck of a bait. John Cruz, it's in a John Cruz video, John talks about it, and I'd always suspected that. That's one of the best transitions from, let's try to replicate the action of this balsa bait and put it into injected bait. And I forgot how long John said they worked on it. It wasn't an overnight process. This wasn't here's this, make it in plastic. They had to get it right, and one of the things was casting it. What you got there, Bo?
Okay. So you can educate me a little bit. So I like anything Duo Realis makes.
Duo makes really good stuff.
Man, they make good stuff. So the M65, they make a shallow runner that's got this funky little
Uh
bill
huh.
on it. Are you familiar with this
I'm a
bait?
little bit. I
Okay.
remember
It's not square. It's got this kind of diamond. Dude, it comes through
kind of like
everything
a long. It's got the
and
same
is.
as a Model A. If you remember a Model 5A, 6A, it's got that.
Oh, do I remember? I grew up on a bomber model. I mean, like the guys my dad fished with and I fished with. Like when they threw a crankbait, they just said, hand me that." They didn't say crankbait. They just said, "I'm throwing a
Mhm.
bomber," because
It's
that's
got
all
that
they
same
threw.
style
But
build.
yeah, that and maybe that's why I love it so much. Is it reminds me of a bomber. You can really cast it. It's got weight transfer, and that little shallow, that weird looking bill will come through everything.
Yeah,
It's worth the $15 that you got to spend. It's hard to spend $15 on a stinking crankbait. That's
dude.
for sure.
Duo makes really good stuff. Their jerk baits are severely underrated. But yeah, that's kind of like a
Yeah.
Japanese JDM version of like a 5A or 4A. Who was the guy that really put that thing on the map? I can't remember if he was fishing a classic or it was one of the first events. Eddie Hawk, maybe. I think maybe he was. Roy
Roy
Hawk was
Hall.
sponsored by him, dude. He waxed them on that, and they discontinued a couple of those
Oh, my,
colors that are really good.
yeah, they're always funky about even getting them, and then the great colors. They'll phase them in and out. My buddy and I, we can't get the right color all the time, but they're great baits. And listen, I'm a big fan about anything Aaron Martins does, and when he got with them, they've got a new little. Well, it's not little; it's a 66
Mm-hmm.
or whatever square bill that's pretty cool. I've thrown
Right,
too, but I'm a big fan of Duo
right. Did
Realis.
they put really good hooks on their stuff? I had a couple of their square bills laying over here somewhere. I may have put them in my square bill box. But man, the hooks on them are really, really good. Um,
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
speaking of Duo Rallis, I got let's go to the chat real quick. I'm gonna jump around. Matthew is Matthew. I'm just gonna call him Matthew Ace because I don't want to mispronounce your last name. He says the depths evoke, which I've been seeing that bait. He says it's a great bait near multiple types of cover, as in the best square bill I use. So caught a lot of fish yesterday. He says the closest thing you can get to fishing a balsa, but it's plastic. I've been seeing this depths evoke bait on a lot of places, and I hear hookup tackle talking about it. That's something very interesting. The only problem, if I ever do a JDM Wheel of Fortune, I'm going to have to win a scratch off before I do that because it can get really expensive really quick.
You have to go to the ATM before you start ordering the
But
JDM stuff. Listen, talk to me about. So the Evoke is out there, and then quietly, all these pros are using this OSP
oh
stuff.
well,
I'm a little late. I'm a little late to that party too because it's a $20 crankbait, but
dude.
I
All
think
right.
it's
So speaking
legit,
of
isn't it?
OSP, if anybody watched Major League Fishing, which I don't know if y'all did not, I didn't hear a lot of people have. Um, One, I'm not. I'm burnt out on northern smallmouth. I hate to tell you, I'm just burnt out on it. It's not exciting for me anymore. It has nothing to do with if it's MLF. I had this conversation with Menendez today, and I said, you can put it to your bosses. I'm just the whole let's go up north and yank on smallmouth off, flogging or video gaming. It ain't doing it for me. If they did it one tournament a year, I could get into it. But when you do Thousand Islands and Champlain and then St. Clair, it's just like, all right, we've seen it. They eat a flatworm. Okay, but
Baitman, I agree as a fan, and I told you I'm gonna give you the fan
yes, let's
perspective.
go.
Okay, old Bo, East Tennessee bass fisherman, fish 12 months out of the year, eat, sleep, live it. Gonna watch every tournament. Gonna know who won. Right? I know who won at MLF. I can't watch simple fish
No,
catches. Now, do I want to go to St. Clair and fish? 100%. But do I just want to see a guy out in the middle of the lake, you know, trying to hand land a smallmouth over and over and over again, and nobody's telling me I'm not learning anything.
No.
I got no interest. I
It's,
have no
you know
interest.
what
I
it's,
don't even know what bait he's using, and if I do, it doesn't matter.
no, here's what bait they're using. They throw it and they go, they land the fish and they go, no one's, we know you're using flatworms, bud. Or whatever.
Who cares?
No, and yeah. Yeah, there's, I don't want to, Rich says, I'm tired of watching the sissy stick. Dude, I'm going to tell you, fish Kentucky Lake now, you better have 2 or 3 of them. I mean, right now is the time of year.
You fish Chickamauga with giant bass. You better have a couple, because when they're not biting, that's the only way you can catch them.
Hellabass says, Baitman hates the North. No, I don't hate the North. Like, those guys fishing the Mississippi River where Hellabass, he's power fishing, swim jigging, he's frogging, he's flipping, punching. I get into some of that fishing. Do you remember the old Bassmasters where they go fish Minnetonka? Mike Otten almost won at Minnetonka, and then Davey Hyatt come in and sat on his stuff on the last day and basically gave him the middle finger. And I heard a little bit about that tournament. Said that was a payback. That evidently Mike did something to Davey in a tournament he didn't like, and when he found out that Mike had a chance to win, he said, "Well, I know where he's fishing. I'm gonna go sit on his stuff." I mean, dude. I'm just going.
This is some good.
I don't know.
Good bass.
Let me rephrase that. Rumor is okay. I like Davey. He's really cool. He interacts with me on Twitter quite a bit. And, obviously I'm a little partial. I work for Mike, but dude, I heard these guys were ruthless back in the day. It was, I'll pull that plug out of your boat before takeoff if I know you're fixing to, so and so said you're in my area, your plug might be missing, or.
Does this turn into the bass version of TMZ just now?
Maybe that's what the sport of bass fishing is. We're missing a TMZ. I don't want to be a Luke Duncan, and I mean that with respect to Luke. I like Luke and what he does, obviously.
He stirs it up.
Hey, I'll give Luke this, and I've talked to him in person, and I respect Luke for what he does, and you know what? He's got a full-time job, and he's not afraid to put it out there, and neither am I. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, but I like to joke and kid around. If I'll say it on stream, I'll say it to your face. I saw Boyd at iCast, and I said, "What are you doing there? Trying to, find a new bait to knock off?" And he just, but. And then I said, and then I'm like, "Hey, I'm friends with Kelly Jordan." He's, "Oh, okay, but it's bass fishing TMZ. No one's really done that. There's a YouTube channel. It's like Philip DeFranco. He uploads 3 days a week, and it's always the YouTube drama, the Instagram drama, and he's getting millions and millions of views. And I'm like, dude, someone could do that for bass fishing. BTL is, of course, BTL's not really, and Mark and Matt did a really good job of really not trying to be drama oriented. They kind of just bring you the facts, and Mark's really good about playing both sides, and I could do that too. Like I said, I told you before, dude, I've got friends that fish bass, FLW, and I've got my own personal preference, but I try not to. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, because at the end of the day, even if it's a full-time YouTubers, because I had a conversation today with somebody that was really ragging on Ben Milliken, and I won't say their name. They weren't mad. They're just like, well, I can't believe they said world-renowned angler. I'm like, well, what's your definition of world-renowned? He's like, well, do they fish internationally? And I said, does Bill Dance fish internationally? If you throw a Tennessee hat up in Japan, do you think they care about the football team? No, they go, oh, Bill Dance. That's what they know that hat
Bill
for.
Dance.
When someone says a world-renowned angler, it's someone that's recognizable around the world. Milliken's got 600,000 subs. He's really put the 6 Cents brand on the map. Good friend of mine. I'm gonna have his back. But people in other countries know who he is. They know who Bill Dance is. That are fishermen too, by the way. I don't just mean go over there and you go to the local sushi bar and start asking people. You probably don't know. But if you get in a fishing-oriented environment in Japan, they're going to know who Bill Dance is, and Kevin Van Dam, and Rick Clunn. That's world-renowned to me. So,
but there's a mixing now with YouTube and content and how things are shared. There's a blending of guys that spend a tremendous amount of time on the water and really know how to fish that aren't tournament fishermen, because we had a window of time there that was you were a tournament fisherman if you were a guide / tournament fisherman, so you guided and tournament fished and that. But now we've got this mix of other people influencing purchases, because at the end of the day, that's really what it's about, eyeballs.
Right.
And we're watching the Baitman and BTL and other things and getting information from different places. So sometimes some of the tournament guys are struggling with that because, hey, but what tournaments has he won? It's like, as a consumer, I'm like, I don't know, but the guy's giving me straight information on baits and giving me really good information. That's what I'm after. I don't need to see you swinging 100 smallmouth to teach me something. I mean,
but the electronics companies, Lowrance, Garmin, Humminbird, oh yeah, keep doing that, because people are buying that. They got to buy them electronics. They're watching them on there. They're selling more live target, active target, live scope than ever before. Dude, especially when you can go put it on a credit card, buy now, pay later, or you can get, dude, some places are offering financing on it. I wouldn't do it, but I've been broke and owned a boat, and it's not fun being broke and owning a boat.
I'm avoiding that.
Oh man, someone in here the dog and Kelly Jordan's prop bait. A lot of people say it sucks. Man, believe it or not, I'm not. Okay. I'll be honest. It's not my. It's not my favorite.
I'm gonna take over the show.
Go ahead.
Right
go
now.
for it.
I'm gonna take over the show right now. So I want to talk about that, and I can't believe this. I can't believe that's not set up. Did somebody really comment that?
Yes, there's multiple comments that said his prop bait sucks. Oh my God.
Okay.
Bo's got one in his hand.
This is the worst, one of the worst purchases. And I love Kelly Jordan. I think he's fantastic.
He's a great dude, great friend of mine. I got a box.
And I love prop baits. This is horrendous. But what I do want to talk about is this. All right, I ran out to the garage before we got started. So, dude, you know how my energy is. I'm going to take you off the rails.
Let's go, baby.
But you have to get with Pradco. After I did BTL, I was like, you know what? Some people were really nice.
You really shouldn't show that. You really shouldn't show that.
I'm going to put a little juice out there. I posted it on my Instagram. Now I can't get them on eBay, and my buddy Michael Laban is laughing at me like, you're the only person, Bo, that's dumb enough to create a market.
Well, you're fixing to,
and then
if there's any out there, you're fixing to make them impossible to get.
Well, they're not. So I'm going to tell you a whole story about this. So this old bomber bait called can you see it? Okay. It's called a rip shad. Mm-hmm. They made 3 sizes of it. This is the largest one. I have the other one. I'll show you in a second. This is a 3-inch. Okay. So I've put good hooks on it, put some feathers on the back. This is a clear one, kind of blue nose. This is an unbelievable color. So here's the deal. In the fall, like this time of year, in Tennessee River, fishing gets kind of difficult. They're chasing shad. They're all over the place. When fish blow up, I throw this in there, I catch one. And there are many times that, like, I'm throwing all kinds of walking baits, tiny baits, because the shad's small. This is a fantastic bait. And I have no reason to tell you this. They don't make it anymore. I can't get them. I have 3 or 4. And so I have one of the 3-inch. So I saw one on eBay last week, the 3-inch. And I thought, it's like it's $7 or $8. Yeah. The bids. I was like, I'm going to get that. The last 30 minutes before it was over, I started bidding to make sure I got it. Some cat paid $45 for one of these last week. It's probably helped.
Dude, I'm a big prop bait fan. I like I caught Cordell the old crazy shads. Oh, dude, those were awesome. I bought some hooks a few weeks ago just to rehook my crazy shads.
So that bait might work as well if I throw it in there at the same time. The deal with this one, it sits rear end
Right.
down, and it's half of it's down in the water. So when they slap at it, I get them. They eat it. I don't. They choke it, and it sits there. And dude, you tune that back blade up, it makes an unbelievable sound. I love it. I bought those Kelly J's a long time ago, thinking, "Oh, this is lucky crap. This is going to be money." That don't buy that bait. But we got to figure out how to get somebody at Pradco to come out with, Scalish and those guys with BTL do that lure net, and they come out with 300 of a special color. So do they still have a mold, and could they make
Maybe.
them? How's that work?
Did I work for Pradco? They just kill me on their lack of forecasting and they got some good stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad they brought some of that old school color back in the a flat A, and they're doing this custom color thing. It's really cool. I think they're missing the mark. They're not bringing back the colors that everybody wants. Why not just do a run of 4 new colors in the old school, the Bomber old school series? We're bringing back 3 or 4 of those old school flat A colors everyone liked. Just do them instead of, well, we're going to do one color this month in this bait, and then in the next color it's in the bait that I'm like, I don't want that. I don't know. Pradco's a weird company.
They're not 6 cents. They're not exactly 6 cents, are they?
I mean, it ain't just 6 cents. I mean, Strike King's on their game, but I will say they did bring back the P70 in the form of the P71, and the one I got looks really good. And I think the tail sits down in the water, so that was a good deal for them. I'll show that dude off. I gotta go get a drink of water. Bo, you keep them entertained. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Wow. Shit from here.
I've been coaching football. I've been telling my son to line up. I'll be right back.
All right, man. Yeah, I don't know how to do this, so I'll tell a story. I always like a good fish story and understand how people got into bass fishing. So I was probably 6 years old. And so my dad had a fishing buddy, Bobby Joe Thornton. He was on, we were on Wilson Lake. It was in August, super hot, summertime. And so I had a push button reel. My dad's just taking me fishing, trying to, now that I look back, I think he was just trying to get me to not hook somebody or something while they were catching bass. And that morning they were throwing topwaters against a seawall, and they were catching largemouth and smallmouth like crazy that morning. And so that was back in the day when they were putting fish in the live well. And so they're catching all these bass on topwater. And my dad and his buddy were kind of ahead of their time, I guess. So they only had flasher depth finders. So they pull off of, and if guys in North Alabama know Wilson Lake, there's a place called Turtle Point, and I'm sure people will fish it now. They had a GPS. So this was before GPS. They pulled off this point, and there was a ledge, and so they get on it with their flasher. It lights up, and it goes from, I don't know how deep it was. It was really deep, so it went from probably 15 feet straight down in front of Turtle Point, drops off into the river channel. And so what my dad and Bobby Joe Thornton were doing, they took Cordell spots and they dropped them straight down over the side vertically on this ledge, and they would just lift up that spot and it would rattle and they would let it fall back down, just like a jigging spoon. And so I'm 6 years old. My dad ties me on a 1/4 ounce Cordell spot, and I'm doing that. Well, when they got on that ledge, they were about every 4th or 5th fish was a nice catfish that they were catching on these Cordell spots. Well, I hooked into something and I couldn't reel it in. My dad says, I tried to give him the rod. I was like, Dad, I can't reel it in. You take it. He said, nope, you got to reel this one in. So I caught a 28.5 pound blue cat on a 1/4 ounce Cordell spot when I was 6. And I think when my dad scooped it up in the net, I was so excited I just kind of fell down in the boat. I couldn't believe how big. I'd never seen a fish that big. So that was kind of the beginning of my love of fishing. and bass fishing with my dad. So kudos to him for him taking a 6-year-old when he and his buddy were really catching
Dude,
them.
that's
So I just told a cool story when I
dude got. I
how I
mean,
kind of got hooked on
that's.
fishing early.
My dad was taking me when I was in diapers. Now I don't remember that, but all I know is we went one morning. I remember I was about 4 years old, and he caught some fish on a popper, and I saw a bass come up by the boat and just go. And I knew right then. I said, "That was cool. That was cool." They also remember him
Yep.
whipping me with a brown and cranking rod because I wouldn't stop changing baits every 5 seconds, and I spilt all its hooks in the bottom of the boat.
Hey, that may
Hey,
explain a lot about how your life's
that's
gone.
right.
You got the shit beat out of you with a cranking
Hey,
stick.
you ever hear them go? You ever go get your switch? Well, my dad had the switch. It was just out of fiberglass.
He said, "Go get
Go
my
get my
cranking rod."
yeah. My dad said get the cranking stick, and we weren't going to like it was a bad deal. But God bless him. He's turned 72 a month ago, and I'm gonna take him fishing one last time here, as soon as it cools down. But that's a good conversation in the chat. Someone said, "I love it when LureNet comes out with a custom color and it's all black." Like, okay. Have you ever? I saw that the other last time they did it when they come out with it. It was all black. I'm like, just sell me a bone, and if I want it black, I'll put a rattle can to it.
Is that is that really
Yeah, it was in
custom?
the custom paint shop or whatnot.
Hey, speaking of which, so you're on
Yeah,
Kentucky
yeah.
Lake, right? So, uh, my buddy Michael
Oh,
Laban
hold
and
on, I
I,
gotta
he lives over
interrupt.
in Missouri.
Michael has been in the chat and he said he intentionally gave you that POS uh, KJ prop bait. And my buddy Monty Mack, Monty's a great dude. He's a Tennessee guy. He's from Halls, Tennessee. That's where my family's from. And a great dude. He wants to know what was the name of that prop bait because Monty Mack will find it. He may call every tackle shop in the country, but he'll find that bait.
It's a bomber rip shad, RIP, rip shad.
Bomber ripshit.
And you can find the ones that are like 2.5 inches, and they work and they're great. I love the 3 inch. They eat it just as well, and it's heavier. You can cast it a lot further. But if you got to find, you can find. There were a few on eBay, but now I probably screwed that. But rip shad. Funny you mentioned black crankbaits. But my buddy Michael and I, we met over at Kentucky Lake, and neither one of us had fished Kentucky Lake a number of years ago. And of course, we met up, and it rained, it flooded the night we got there. So the next morning we wake up, the lake was absolute chocolate mud, a mess, terrible. And I was like, dude, we may not catch anything. I was like, well, let's just get out here and go. And so we started fishing. He whips out, so he likes to paint his own lures,
Mm-hmm.
right? He whips out, he calls it swamp thing. It's black and blue
Yeah.
square bill. Proceeded to lay the
Really?
smack down. Yeah, some people often, you hear that question a lot. Well, why wouldn't a green or a dark square bill work? Yeah, and that mud, it was super
Mm-hmm.
mud water, and he'll try some weird stuff. He started throwing that black square bill or black and blue and started spanking them.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I've actually caught a few fish on the Black Magic square bill from 6 inches playing around. Nothing big. I mean, the biggest
Yes,
one might have been 14 inches. But you know what? There is a ton of guys on Facebook and social media always posting pictures of bass caught on that black crankbait, that black and blue Black Magic. I mean, it's one of their best sellers for a reason. And I'm thinking, guys really catching them on this? And I've seen YouTube videos. God, bass eat that color. I don't know what about it, but
Yeah, 6 cents kind of got that going.
there's actually some controversy there. So the story on that color is Albert Collins is 6 cents guy, and supposedly Ray Hanselman had been using that color forever down at Amistad or whatnot. And this is, I don't know if this is true. This is what I heard. Him and Albert are rivals. Albert seen it, and then had the buddy paint one up and started whacking them, and he goes, "Hey, 6 cents, make this." The other story is everybody down in Texas knew about it. 6 cents was the first one to put it out to the masses. And then Strike King's like, oh, well, we'll do our version, and we'll just call it Wicked. And, hey, $20 make you holler from my man Monty McWilliams. Monty, I appreciate it. Didn't have to send no super chat tonight, buddy. I really appreciate you. And, hey, guys, y'all want to go on a duck hunt? I'm going to do a little plug for my sub, Monty Mac. If you want to go on a duck hunt in Tennessee, West Tennessee, if you like that, you'll look up Mallard Estate Outfitters. Premier duck hunting, premier accommodations. Monty and his son Blake do it big there. You know what? I might even throw the Mallard Estates hat on next week. So, but anyway, so there was some controversy about that black color, who did it first and all that. But dude, it catches. Dude, there's so many people that, is that coming out in Black Magic? I gotta have that. Gotta have that in Black Magic, and it just works. But today I'm filming Menendez. Okay, the water's really clear in places. He's throwing a donkey rig. It works, by the way. These little smallmouth were following it. You know what they look like? They look black. They looked black. You know, the backs are solid black. It's just dark silhouettes. And he made the comment, and that's why those black colors work so well in clear water in the south. And that's all he said. And
yeah.
So,
yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, and it's a little counterintuitive, but in super clear water, I think black is a great color for all baits, soft plastics and
right. I think it just casts a silhouette. You know, one of Zoom's biggest selling colors is black. That's it, black. Mag trick worm. You know, a lot of guys ask, you know, that South African special is black with gold and purple glitter. That's just always a popular color.
Yeah, it's a cool color.
But it's just crazy, man. Man, I don't even know where we're at. We're talking about prop baits.
So is anybody watching?
Yeah, we got like
is anybody
we got
watching
about 100.
Tonight, or did I run
we got about
115
people live, dude. And you know, I know I'm usually getting 180, 200, and all that, but me and Hellabass have been talking. YouTube as a whole is really watered down right now. And also, you know, me not streaming as much and uploading goes into things. But, man, I'm filming TV shows. I may go out with Matt Robertson tomorrow and work on some promo stuff for him and his sponsors. So I'm just tied up, but I'm going to do the triple stream. I'm going to stream tomorrow night, and Saturday night we're going to unbox the Wheel of Awesome. And who knows what I'll talk about tomorrow night. I could just, you know, do whatever. We'll pick a subject and go. But I was going to talk about your rip bait from the rip prop or whatever it was. Lucky Craft Rip Shad. Lucky Craft makes a bait called the Wake Tail that looks just like that. Have you ever seen that?
That sounds familiar.
I'll pull it up on.
I need to check that out. Pull it up. Let's look at it.
I've got one. I've got one. Hold on.
I'm wondering if it sits in the water, right? I think that's part of the key. Is that thing about half of that body? It sits straight up and down.
Y'all are about to see.
When you let it rest, I think that's part of the deal.
Man, lose a shit. Pardon my French. Lose a bunch of baits. Real quick. Is it one of my top water boxes is right on the bottom here. Oh. This is getting out of hand of what I've got going on here. It's just so bad. I can barely have enough room for my feet. I think I got one in here.
What's it called?
It's called a Lucky Craft Wake Tail. Sure do. Hey, I got. There's old Kelly J. I have caught a fish on this. I have caught a fish on this.
Does it have any? I'm gonna ask you one question.
It does have.
Does it have any teeth marks on it?
It's got rash on it. It's a big chunk.
There's a difference between hook rash and teeth marks.
It's got some. I've really honestly on that bait I've probably caught 4 fish. I caught one really good smallmouth, and the rest were just barely bigger than that.
Well, then, you know what? Then that just
There it
proves,
is.
one man's
This is right
trash,
here. It's the
another man's
Lucky
treasure.
Craft weight tail. It's got the reverse prop. This hook is done for. I think it got hung in the carpet of my boat
Huh.
when I had it, and I cut it out if I remember right. It's got some rattles to
Okay.
it.
I might need to check that.
It's got rattle to it. And it's about 3.5 inches.
What's it do? Does it sit kind of tail down?
It's been so long since I've thrown
Or do
it,
you
but I can
remember?
definitely go throw it in the pool and tell you tomorrow. I
That's all
still
right.
have a pool, even though no one's ever seen it. It's the color of Lake Barkley. That's all.
You know how this part of the magic is that, that I can't get it. That's part of the magic. They don't make
I
them
know.
anymore.
And we talked about this earlier. Tell me what you said about baits and fishing. How it relates. Your comparison was
Oh yeah. So we were chatting. So uh, I didn't coin the phrase, but somebody said it to me. One tackle buyer. He was like, baits are a lot like the fashion industry, meaning when something gets hot, you can't get enough of them, and you can charge about whatever you want for it. And
mm-hmm.
then when it goes cold,
You
you
can't get
can't
rid
give
of it.
them away. So I relate that as having kids. When girls are in middle school, it's funny. You drop them off at school, and they all have the exact same outfits on. They're wearing the same shoes. They all wear the same stuff. And then when it's out of style, you can't give them away.
And then you wait
And
about 10
baits, think
years
about it,
and
baits are that way.
yeah. And then about 10 years or so, it kind of comes back in. Hey, Lee Livesey basically single-handed put the head and super spook back on the map there at Lake Fork. It was crazy seeing all these people. Like, well, what kind of topwater is that? What bait? I'm like, dude, that's just a freaking OG bone spook. And what I like about Lee too is he don't care. He puts it out there whether they're sponsor or not. He didn't try to. Well, I was throwing a prototype. No, it was us. Oh, I
Prototype.
hate that too. By the way, Gary Klein did that this week, and I'm very disappointed in Mr. Klein. But anyway, he just said, yeah, it's a bone super spook, and I caught him on a glide bait and this bait as well on a 6-inch square bill. And you can go look at all the footage, and that's really what he was using. But, I mean, dude, you
Exactly
got
what it
on
was
Tackle
using.
Warehouse the next day, they're sold out of bone super spooks. I mean, at the end of the day, fishing tournaments to me is, I'm not so much worried about who's winning and all that. I got my favorites. Tell me what you caught them on. And that's the thing about the up north tournaments right now. It's either an Ed rig or it's a flatworm or drop shot. Same thing every year.
The weird thing about those tournaments, and I've fished up there a little bit at St. Clair. It's really about
Right.
finding them. It's not like fishing on the Tennessee
No.
River, dude. If they find those smallmouth, they bite. You could drop a
Mm-hmm.
whatever bait down there. I get it. There's something to max scent and smallmouth. I'll give you that. But like, it wasn't about the bait for Michael Neal winning that
No.
tournament. He didn't have a magic technique. He found them. But that's where I like to see the strategy and the bait and it all come together. Yeah, that's where the smallmouth tournaments are a little funky for me to watch.
No, Sean, what happened is Bo and a couple guys have asked, they've talked about OSP. So Seth Fighter years ago, he won the St. Clair tournament throwing a Blitz Max DR, or OSP Blitz DR crankbait. And he caught some fish on a DT6. I mean, it's documented on camera. He definitely caught some on DT. But that Blitz Max is like, or Blitz DR Max, I can't even remember which one. The Max is a little bit bigger body. That has become like the go-to smallmouth killer bait. Like any of those OSP, the MRDRs up north. Klein's throwing one in the MLF, and he's catching them. And you can see the bait. And I think he knew the cameraman saw the bait, and he said, yeah, this is a new prototype dredger crankbait we're working on. And I said, I just shook my head and said, dude, the camera can tell that is not a prototype Berkeley. That is a OSP. Just say, keep it professional. Just say, yeah, Berkeley, they don't make anything like this, and there's something about this bait that I really like, and go on with it. You know what I mean? I remember Gerald Swindle tells this story. And you can find it on YouTube. He's sponsored by Zoom. Ed Chambers said, Ed, I got a problem. And I said, well, tell me, Gerald. He says, I'm catching all my fish on a Cinco. What do I tell the people at the weigh-in? He said, don't lie to them. You caught them on a Cinco, Gerald. Be authentic. Don't lie to them. It ain't going to hurt my feelings. I got more respect for that. Again, Swindle at the Classic. It was real fit a couple years ago. He said, I caught all my fish on a jackhammer. I'm not sponsored by them, and I paid $15.99 just like everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
I relate to that. People want that, you know? And to me, if I'm a sponsored guy, whether it's 6 Cents or Strike King or whatnot, if a guy catches me on a different bait, be authentic. Be like, hey, you know, I have some great tools, and I use them quite a bit. But this tournament, I had to go to a different toolbox. I had to try a different tool, and it worked. And, you know, these guys are going to throw what they can to win $100,000. But now with live and video and everything, you can't hide stuff. So just roll with the punches. I don't need to hear Jacob.
Yeah, he didn't have to say anything.
Right. He could just fish, but he had to get that plug in because, again, at the end of the day, what's it about? It's about that dollar. You know what I mean? Some these baits sell themselves, but you know, I try to keep people from buying all this other stuff that's a waste of money. I mean, OSP makes great stuff.
Here's the crazy thing about that. When have you seen an ad for an OSP
Never.
bait? You don't, and they cost $20.
Right.
So there's two reasons why I would not buy
they're like
it.
$24.
Yeah, it gets. Yeah, but it gets a little traction and word gets out. Like bass fishermen, and I'm guilty too. Like if I think it's gonna work or something different, or than the next guy, like I'll pay for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's a.
Well, clearly Gary Klein's getting all the baits he wants from Berkeley. But what's he throwing? What's he throwing when he's trying to win $100,000? That's interesting.
Dude, I'm throwing whatever they buy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 100%.
And I do that on regular fishing too. I mean, I'll take my 6 Cent stuff with me and all that. And I like most of their baits and I end up catching quite a few on it. But dude, sometimes they don't want the divine shaky worm and it's a mag trick worm. Sometimes they really get keyed on, you know, whatever, a 6XD, you know, different days of stuff. And I tell people all the time, don't get tied down to just one brand. Now, you can have your favorite worm or favorite color you always use. I get that. But go out and experiment. Here's an OSP jerkbait. This is the Varuna. And this thing is meant to be...
Hold it down a little bit where I can see it.
That's called the Varuna. You know, that kind of looks like that Yozuri a little bit, but it's a little bit wider. Yeah, listen to this guy. That is a really loud jerkbait. You know when I'm going to throw this? Right now in the fall and ripping it around flats and stuff like that. Just a bunch of flash on it. These are a good deal. And the reason I bought this, late series guy said, dude, you want a jerkbait that ain't nobody throwing on Kentucky Lakes? Yeah, he said, go get a Varuna. And then they make another one, he said, called a Rudra. That's even better. Yeah, they got crazy colors. And I said, well, how do you know it's good? And he says, go look in my jerkbait box and open up. And he's got like a dozen of them. And 2 of them are just rash to shit. And I'm like, okay, it's enough. That's enough.
Yeah, that's sold you. Hey, I will tell you, I support companies that support things I like. I made that point on BTL, you know. I mean, I get to buy whatever I want. So if companies support things I like and I have a choice, I will support them. But I will tell you a bait I kind of stumbled on was 6 Cents. And I love their brand. They got this Texas flavor to them. The stuff they come out with, growing up in Oklahoma, I can see the Texas influence on all of their stuff. But man, they make some cool stuff, and I love their. Anyway, the whole brand is cool.
Good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I think I just assume to wear their shirts as anything. They look good. And they fit. See how nice and trim I look. I'm actually down to about 100. I've lost a bunch of weight. You know, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes a few weeks ago, and I've lost like 8 pounds just cutting out sugar and drinking water and getting a little bit more active.
Are you laying off those soft drinks?
Dude, I bet I've drank 200 Mountain Dews on the stream here in the last couple years, and dude, I've got onto the water train now. If I drink anything flavored, it's sugar free, Dr. Pepper.
Good for you. Hey, that stroker crawl on the hardhead. Dude, there's a reason why they call it Rocky Top over here.
That's right.
That is money. That is money.
That's right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I got this pack of mini stroker crawls that just came out. I meant to show them on the stream.
Oh yeah, I'll have.
Dude, these are going to be, if you're like those tungsten football jigs, like a Kitech or the Beast Coast, and you're looking for it's always hard for me to find trailers for that Kitech. I've been using the Missile Baits Crawfather and cutting it in half. I don't have to do that no more. Which I'll still throw the Crawfather, but this mini stroker crawl, it's like a 2.4 inch side, Ned rig, finesse jigs, and something different. These, if you look on the package here, it says made in the USA. What? So the ones in the old school Shell Clan packages, these are actually made in China. Not that that's bad. They do tear up a little easy, but you're going to see a lot of the plastics from 6 cents. They're going to be poured in the United States from here out. But this mini one's awesome. A little bit softer, but it's a little bit more durable, if that makes sense. Because those stroker crawls are nice. They do tear up kind of easy. But man, these.
That little one will be that'll be in East Tennessee. They throw a little finesse jig a lot.
Put it on like the back of a little
too. That will be perfect.
Someone says hold it up next to Ultravibe. I tell you what, I will do that. I got a fight over here to get my Ultravibe. But I like to do a little bait comparison. It is the Baitman show, so let me find me an Ultravibe speed crawl real quick.
Oh yeah, because that Ultravibe speed crawl is the standard.
I just happen to have one right in front of me. It never works like that. One of these days, I'm going to turn my table around. I'm going to stream, and you'll see the soft plastics back here. Cause I think people think they don't exist. But, here's the Ultravibe speed crawl. I'll hold it for Bo first. Yep. And then here's the mini stroker crawl, the 2.4. It's actually quite a bit smaller. Stroker crawl right hand.
Oh, it is smaller.
Definitely smaller. I'll hold it up to the webcam so you guys can see this. This is a black and blue one. So where I think this really small one's beneficial is if you're using those tungsten finesse jigs like the Kitech or the Kitech casting jig, or a Bitsy size or Bitsy bug or the Missile mini flip, stuff like that. Those micro jigs have gotten huge. Yeah. Fitzgerald makes one. That right there. Ned rig, man. Just you can swim that guy. But that speed crawl, that's a big dude. Dude, that's a real popular bait, man. Football jig guys throw it, swim jig guys. I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of guys on Kentucky Lake, on the back of a night spinnerbait is what they put that thing on.
Really?
Sell a bunch. Okay. You sell a bunch of them in that blackberry or black sapphire color. Guys put them on the back of their night blades. But yeah, that's actually the stroker crawl. I'm glad you mentioned. That's one of my favorite plastics they make. And I was kind of, to be honest, when they released it, I was kind of like, really? Yeah. Dude, I've been catching them. I've even put photos on Instagram. Throw that sucker on a buzzbait.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Instead of a frog, this is the Accent Jacob Wheeler Game Changer. I don't know if it's changed the game for me. It holds up really well. I've probably caught 50 fish on this one buzzbait, but it's got this little keeper back here. I'm going to tear my craw up. It's got a keeper there on the shaft. Just a little wire, and it's threaded on there. And I'll put it up on the webcam for you guys to see. I'll put this on my TW link. They got a big stock, and they just got some, but I've been putting that stroker crawl on there. Whew, been eating them. I actually might have a few fish catches on video, believe it or not. The only issue is the legs are so long, unlike a frog, and they're not real thick. You'll get some small ones that come up and grab the leg, and they pop it off. But always trying to figure out something different.
The next month, the next month is the time to be throwing that buzzbait too around here.
Dude, I threw a mega bass buzzbait this morning, and I've had it for a while, and I've never really thrown it. I'm not gonna lie, I was really impressed with it. It was, I thought it was gonna be too loud. I don't like big clackers, but this was more
I'm not a clacker
more of a good plop and rattle. And Menendez pulled up, I was throwing it off the bank. He goes, "Who makes that buzzbait?" And I said, "Guess." And he said, "Now tell me who makes it." I said, "Mega Bass." And he goes, "Really?" He said, "I never would have thought that." He said, "Sounds good." You know, he's got a lot of buzzbaits. He's a buzzbait kind of guy. That new.
I love a buzzbait, but I'm kind of old school. I don't vary too much. So give me your list of top. Give me top three.
Top three buzzbaits.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Dude, that new Strike King skipping buzz, as many as I've caught on it in a little time, probably going to end up there. But I like the accent. It's not real expensive. It holds up. It's got a good combination of chop and squeak. I like a War Eagle. I thought I had one over here. I like the War Eagle a lot. And you can get the War Eagle Buzz and Toad, or you can get the plain War Eagle, because it's got a bigger blade on it, and it squeaks really good. I like a squeak, that squeaky sound, but I like that plop, 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 plop. And then, dude, Booger Man. A Booger Man, prototype lures, any of that Booger Man style has always been really good for me.
Yeah.
I like it simple. I mean, dude, I can go all day on buzzbaits. Put Eric on here.
Dude, that old school lunker lure.
I got one.
Still catches them, man.
I think that's the cool thing about buzzbait fishing. Let's just be honest, you do not have to have a $20 Mega Bass JDM to catch them. You can literally, some of the best ones, I picked this one up in a little store because I thought it was cool. Look here. Oh, Jank Juice buzzbait. We got a chartreuse blade, chartreuse and purple skirt on this thing. I paid $2.99 for it. I want to throw it. I'm not a big fan of the hook, but they'd bite this. I don't like the clackers. I'll probably take that off and just roll with it. But, you can...
I know there's a time where they choke those clackers, but, man, I don't throw them very much.
Tell you something.
It just seems too loud to me. The waters I fish are pressured, man.
Tell you something a lot of guys don't throw anymore. Is that right there? Plastic blade. It's a 4-blade plastic prop. Yeah, I forgot who makes this. But when that water's real slick and there's a lot of fishing pressure around, this is just a real silent buzzbait. And I like how this goes down. I think somebody sent me this. Maybe Darius, my friend Darius that took me fishing, sent me this. I mean, it's silent. I mean, you hear. That's it.
Yeah, you don't hear anything when that's coming through the water.
Man, when I was growing up, catch some big fish. These almost spit. Like when the blade's going around with the 4-blade, it's almost spitting water instead of just a buzz. But when there's a lot of fishing pressure, dude, these things right here will get bit. This one's got a really thin wire. It kind of bounces. I like that. But again.
So what's that Mega Bass? But that Mega Bass buzzbait, is it a $25 buzzbait?
I really think it's pretty reasonable. I think it's like $15 or $16. It's sad that I just said it's reasonable for $15 or $16.
Hey, I splurged a little on one. I mean, I saw you post some JDM spinnerbaits.
Yes.
Like, this is a Mega Bass spinnerbait. It's got a little different shaped blades. They kind of got me with that.
Yeah, I got some.
Dude, this thing is so legit.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I've tried to catch fish with it on camera.
Yeah, I love this bait.
Yeah, I think I had
I'm going to whack him on this in the fall.
I think I had it last week. This guy right here. It's really compact. It's pretty cool. It runs really good. I've thrown it quite a bit. That Jackal, the Dune.
Yep.
I gotta get the Jackal over here, or maybe I laid it over on the table. But there's the SV3. I like the SV3. That color right there, right now, will work killer on Kentucky Lake. You know, Mark caught a 5-pound smallmouth on a baby burner today, just as fast as he can reel it. And dude, when it hit, his whole rod went. But that's kind of got that small profile. I really like that and how these baits run. The only issue I've got with the JDM spinner baits is those jokers do not believe in putting a big hook in a spinner bait. They're all tiny hooks.
Makes me nervous.
But yeah, Jamaica boa, it's a weird name. I'm trying to find the price on that somewhere. It's $15.99, which I got it on that Labor Day sale, that secret checkout. It was like $12 or something like that. Let's go to the question room for a minute.
Hey, so you mentioned Kentucky Lake. So tell those of us within driving distance. I don't want to get into the whole carp thing. I just want to know how the fishing is over there. Is it bouncing back, and is the bass fishing getting good again?
So conflicting opinions here. I think so. Matt Robertson says, and I respect Matt because we've been fishing for about the same amount of time. Obviously, he's a hell of an angler. But me and him fish a lot of the same areas and stuff. He's just a lot better at catching them than me. But he'll call me because he knows that, you know, I got plenty on seat time. He feels like he doesn't think it's getting any better. He's because we're not seeing as many 14 to 16 inch fish. And a lot of people are catching a lot of smallmouth, and he said that's because they're fishing for them now. Whereas they're like, man, can't get the largemouth to buy. I'll just drag Ned rigs and finesse stuff. And he said, so you're seeing more guys throwing more finessey stuff, so they're in turn catching more smallmouth. He's like, man, I've always been able to catch the same amount of smallmouth as I am now. You just got to change your areas, and the areas where the carp are is where all these largemouth like. So obviously people are changing up. I feel though personally, I don't think it's getting, and Matt would agree, it's not getting any worse. Well, both agree it's not getting worse. I do feel it's getting a little better. I think this spring it fished really good. If you're a dude who likes to throw a square bill and a jackhammer, dude, you could go out any day from, you know, reasonable day, February to the middle of March this year, you catch you 5 keepers. Now, they may weigh 12 pounds. They may weigh 25 pounds. There were several over 20-pound bags weighed in. I just feel like, I don't know if we need 1 or 2 more spawns. We got to get some grass back. We're getting bait fish. Threadfin shad have showed up this year. We haven't seen thread fins in a while, so the threadfins got to come back. We've got emerald shiners. We got a ton of skipjack. And you know, bass are going to eat herring. They eat bluebacks everywhere. They feed on the skipjacks.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, but we still got to have patience. They have took a lot of carp out of the lake, but there is a plethora of carp out there. I mean, I got a video. I've got it done. I just need to upload to YouTube where I'm fishing a top water with the guy in the chat here. Great guy, Darius. He took me fishing. And dude, we caught him. Caught a great big smallmouth, and but I was really excited to catch a lot of 12-inch bass. So they don't go from being a fry to 12 inches and lake not be healthy, you know.
Right.
So
good. We want it to bounce back. That lake and that economy around that lake needs it to bounce back.
I think that's what's hurt a lot.
There.
It's really hurt the tackle shops. My wife's aunt owned the Ponderosa in Draftfield. You probably may have ate there if you were here. It went out of business, and it wasn't just that, but she said, man, the tournament guys don't show up anymore. You know, on any given Saturday from end of March to end of June, she'd be packed from 5 o'clock to closing with tournament guys. And, you know, there's a lot of other factors in that, but you know, a lot of the business said the same thing. The local hardware store would be full of guys coming out. Man, I'm looking for this boat part. I'm looking for this. So, I mean, like Monty Mack says, Monty's fishes with Jake Lawrence, who's an absolute hammer. And Monty's a great fisherman, too. Love spending time in the boat with him and Jake. But he said he fished a tournament last weekend on Kentucky Lake. 2 17-pound bags, 3 fish weigh in. Now, if a lake's that bad, it's 3 fish for 17 pounds. It's a 5.25 pound average. They're out there.
Somebody's figured out how to catch
Yeah.
them.
And 10. Yeah, we're gonna go with some chat questions real quick, Bo. I always like to pilfer the chat. 10 Horse Money, what's up, 10 Horse? Great stream, my friend. How's the shad population? That's the deal. The shad are coming back. So, you put a bunch of chocolate out in front of me, I'm going to gain some weight. It's just a fact. So that, and those threadfin shad are like chocolate for the bass. But that's what hurt the ledge fishing. We didn't have enough bait fish that would move out on this main lake or humps at the mouths of the creeks. So those bass said, well, we can stay shallow. We got bluegill and these little bitty shiners that stay shallow. We'll just stay there. There's no reason for us to go out deep. There's nothing out there. I do think our big gizzard shad population's down a little bit. But again, there's two things here. Gotta have some grass. That gives the shad and brim in the fall and the summer places to go and hide from the predators. And by predators, I don't just mean other fish. Birds are, dude, we got more gray herons than I've ever seen in my life. And they're pelicans.
Really?
That hurts. Coots. Cormorants. Cormorants just, man, they wreak havoc. But two, we've lost a lot of shore cover too. Like, I don't know if you said you fish Kentucky Lake. Back in the day, you used to go roll in a bay or two, and it'd be lay down, lay down, lay down, lay down. And you could slow roll that spinnerbait, throw a fluke or topwater. A lot of those laydowns are gone. With all the flooding and stuff and the springs and the high currents, it's pulled a lot of those laydowns away. And so there's not a lot of really good spawning habitat around some of the banks. And Fish and Wildlife has said, if y'all want to do something to really help, y'all need to create more cover for bass in shallow water that's, at winter pool, you can kind of see it. They want stuff where when that water's like 2 foot below summer pool, it's in between where bass can come up and spawn in. So, I try to do something at work. So I'll make these window jams of wood with wood at work, and we always have excess material. And I was trying to be ahead of curve. I said, why don't y'all just donate all this stuff? I'll get some fishermen. We'll buy the buckets. Why don't we make like a bunch of fish habitat? And a bunch of people are like, dude, that's a good idea. Got vetoed because some jackleg years ago said he was going to do that, and it was cutting scrap on purpose. So instead of it being scrap from, hey, you're only supposed to cut 60 inches and then you'll have 30 inches of scrap, he would just go in and just start cutting and then taking it home instead of using the scraps. And it's, one guy ruins it, but,
There's always some guy who's making his own brush piles out off the company time.
Yeah, it's, so I get that. So Monty, Drew Elrod says, Bo is the man. Dude, I'm enjoying the conversation tonight. We've been on for an hour and a half. It's been a while since I've went this long.
That's Drew. I think that's Drew from the University of Tennessee bass fishing team. He's a little hammer. We took some high school guys from our local high school, and Drew hopped in the boat with me. He's a neat guy. It's impressive how these college guys that travel and fish a lot, like, they know how to fish.
Yeah, dude. So let's talk about all right, let's look at fishing at your fan perspective now. What are we doing 2021 versus, dude, 2001? I was just learning to ledge fish versus, 2010. How is fishing's become advanced? And I don't just mean forward-facing sonar. I know the Randys of the world want to ban it and all that. But do you feel that all the advancements in fishing has kind of hurt the advancement of the tournament angler? And by that, I mean guys that are great fishermen, but they don't have the budget to put live scope and all this on your boat? Or do you think, if you're going to be good, you're going to have to figure out a way to get that stuff? Is it harder for a guy to go from? I feel like now it's easier for a guy to go high school, college, and go compete in the opens because of all the technology available. Whether they can afford it or not, it's a different
Well,
story.
they pick it up. They pick it up quicker.
Right.
They pick it up quicker. So he's going to pick up So he's growing up with the electronics, right? And wow, I'm going to sound old, but like, dude, my first bass boat had a compass on it.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad's old Ranger just had a
Like
flasher.
that blows your mind, right? There were like I had paper maps. I was big on paper maps because I was rolling around looking at the contours on the paper map, and I thought like I really know what I'm doing, and I'm looking at my flasher, and I'm trying to find this little island that's on the map, and I'm doing that. These guys are growing up with forward-facing sonar, but they really know how to use their electronics, and it's more intuitive because that's how they're growing up. Like you could put me in a boat with a flasher, and I would be handicapped, but I would know how to use it.
Right.
But these kids are growing up. What they're growing up with, it accelerates them with the technology, with the mapping and all that. What I think they miss a little is just bass fishing is about just making decisions and reacting to the current conditions. So I think they'll get around fish, but then like if they practice and they're hammering them, and then the day of the tournament, the wind's blowing, it rained last night, everything kind of changed. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The seasoned guy's going to get them every time because he's just adjusting. He's just adapting. He's intuitive to what's going on that's unrelated to electronics. It's more related to bass movement. But, dude, these young guys have so much information. I was a little off the topic. I've taken some young high school guys, and even before they were in high school, I'm watching these kids grow up that love to bass fish. They hop in the boat with me, and I'm changing baits, and they're looking at my tackle, and they know every bait, what it costs, everything about it, because they've just scoured Tackle Warehouse and the internet. They know everything. The application and the experience is not there yet. But I'm always impressed with, oh, that's a mega bass. That's $25. Oh, Bo, you got a handful of those. And I'm like, how do you know? You know, they know all the baits.
Yeah, like
stuff.
When I was fishing in high school, all the guy that fished with me, it was like DD22 or DD14. That was it. Like I'd pull out something, he'd like, well, that ain't a Norman. What's that? You know?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, that ain't a plum worm, or you know, it was zoom and.
But the other thing that happens is now especially even the high school guys are fishing different bodies of water. But like Drew and these guys in college, like dude, they'll fish tournament in Texas. They'll qualify. You know, they're up at Thousand Islands. They're down in Florida. So like that's what makes you a better fisherman.
Right.
Is not fishing the same pond every day, or you know,
I like to fish
that
the same pond.
Tennessee
I like
River,
some
like
lake eggs. That's about But yeah, I get that.
I got to work my way into trip.
Hey, come on, bud. I got a spot for you. I promise you that. Now, the guy that owns Lake X is a Bama fan, but we have a mutual agreement. Unless it's game day. He's actually one of the few Bama fans I can tolerate. He graduated from there. Was on the fishing team with like Clint Davis and Connell and all those guys.
Okay.
But I think
so anyway,
the access to information is so much easier than it. Just public information now makes people better fishermen.
The interesting thing about it, though, is I'm afraid some of these guys, we're going to lose some because some of these young cats think you have to have all that to, quote, be a good fisherman.
Correct. I would agree with
that.
You
really, I mean, yeah, I get it. This time of year, I don't have forward-facing sonar yet. And I get it. I'm out on a flat. Fish are kind of blowing up here and there, and it gets in my head. I'm like, man, if I had that forward facing right now and just scan that trolling motor, I would see them, and that would be an advantage. I get it, but so my perspective right now, I'm trying to wade through, and I think maybe Garmin is the best. I'm looking at what Lowrance is doing. Theirs looks good. I'm trying to figure out where it's going to settle out and where my money's best spent. So I'm kind of being patient on that, to be honest.
Yeah, I was out in the boat 2 weeks ago using Active Target, Lowrance. Man, my fishing partner had it. Now, we were catching white bass, which is one of my favorite things to do. I love catching my ultralights.
That's fun.
Dude, Active Target had it going on. He had his dialed, man. It was, dude, you could watch him come crush the rooster tail. I was missing him because I was seeing him like run up and train, and I'd feel him and yank it from him, and you drop it back, and the whole school, you'd see like 10 balls run down. And so that's a disadvantage sometimes, I think, being able to see it and you're anticipating, and you see a fish go to commit, and you just jerk it out from him. And I learned that a little bit at OHI, throwing the A-rig. All of a sudden, one of them would start submarining it, and you'd be right in front of his face. And I think as a fisherman, what we're trying to do is, you'd see this big dot coming. You're like, man, I've only got like 30 yards of line out, and he's coming, and you hit the button, and it falls, and he'll kind of track it, and then he'll swim off. You're like, dang. Well, what me and like Josh Jones and a couple of those guys, and Milliken figured out, don't worry if you got 10 yards of line. If he's coming, pump that sucker and make it go forward, and they can't handle it, or make it change directions. You just don't want to drop it straight down.
Yeah.
Because the secret is bass feed up. Unless they're bottom oriented, they're feeding up. Yes, you catch them on jigs and shaky heads and stuff like that, but those fish are usually tight on the bottom. You're not going to catch a suspended bass below them. You're going to catch above them. That's why jerkbait's so good. But that A-rig, if you brought it to them and you could see them and you ran it above them, and right as soon as you got past their nose, if you just pump it, they just crush it, because I think they thought, oh, bait fish just saw me, it's fleeing, I got to get him. Whereas, why were these bait fish diving down to the bottom? I don't want to exert the energy to go down there. So
you're good with the Active Target. You like that, because I've got Lowrance on my running the Lowrances now. So,
I think Garmin first to do it. Obviously, it's really good. But if you got, I had seen no issue if a guy wants to run an Active Target, just different buttons. I'm not really sure the Mega Target or Mega Live is. I felt like from watching the videos, they still got some stuff to work off. I've heard some of the elite pros have had a lot of bugs out of it. But, it's Humminbird. They usually find a way to be at the top.
They'll work it out, yeah.
We've been on for an hour, 37 minutes. Bo, we could keep going, but I'm fading here. I haven't slept a lot today.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit. What are some things that drive you nuts as far as the fishing tackle industry? I laughed on BTL.
Oh, you're going to get some comments
now. I'm trying to get my comments up.
You want me to say something, don't you? You want me to get the comment.
TMZ.
Dude, I am a...
Are you anti-Boeing jersey or not?
I knew you were going to go there. Dude, I'm... Like, I can't... The jersey kills me, man.
So, Ike's do...
And I know there's some guys with sponsors, and there's guys on here that wear them, and they have a reason to, and that's cool. I just can't do it.
Dude, I'm good wearing a shirt like this. I mean, it says what it says. I look decent in it. I had a jersey one time. I felt like, listen, I fished a charity tournament one time, and I felt all the guys at the night before, they all had their jerseys on, and I'm just wearing like, a Gamakatsu hook shirt, and guys like, hey man, so that they auction you off, and this guy nudges me, he's like, hey man, I didn't know if you could fish or not. I was really trying to bid on these guys in the jerseys, and I said, well, that don't mean nothing. And he goes, well, I hope my $50 I spent would be all right. We ended up getting second, and he's like, man, dude, you could freaking catch them. And I was like, I mean, I had a huge school fish, but they had so much fun. But I felt so bad. I went to my truck before, as soon as we, you could trailer. I said, dude, I got a jersey. I need to look a little bit more professional and just this white T-shirt. And I said, would you get it for me? He's like, you sure? I was like, yeah. Only jersey I had was an AMS bow fishing jersey that had blood stains all over it, and I wore that in the bass weigh-in. And I looked legit.
Dude, people in the South will wear that jersey to everywhere, man. Hey, they wear that jersey. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's tournament meeting's over. It's time to go to Applebee's. Throw that jersey on.
Listen, that's what I love about Matt Pangrank. He's resisting
Hey,
the jersey.
I'll,
He,
I'll,
he's so humble. I love that. He's kind of he doesn't take himself too serious, but dude, he's putting it on the line, right? He's fishing all the opens, and he's kind of pushing back on the jersey. I appreciate that
you
about
know,
him.
I get it. I'm filming in this. He really had been doing it lately. He hadn't been wearing his jersey a whole lot. He did today. He's kind of gotten to like, I'm just going to wear my Seagull shirt. I'm just going to wear my Lose shirt. And I'm like, dude, don't do that
I
because
like
of
it.
my anti-jerseyism. He's like, no, you're right though. I need to mix the look up on camera a little bit. I get that. I said, just don't wear a white shirt on a Bluebird day. That's terrible on the camera. But
That's funny.
you know, I
No,
you
that
seen
bugs
the
me,
Ike and
yeah,
Ellie where he goes bowling with the professional bowler and Ike's wearing his fishing jersey and he's wearing other guys in the bowling jersey. I've really been trying to find a good joke like, well, I guess y'all are sponsored by the same, clothing company. Shouldn't be too hard. But
yeah, they were the same jersey company, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's funny.
but
No, the jersey thing and the whole look, right? And then one of the things that I kind of now, sometimes when you run into other bass fishermen, the whole secretive thing kind of gets under my
yeah,
skin now. It's like nobody wants to talk to anybody, I mean, you probably could tell, but now I'm like, dude, this guy likes what I like. He's at the ramp. I'm like, what's up, man? How you doing? You been on? I'm gonna. And then usually it kind of opens up, but like people are hesitant. Like if you roll up and you got a nice rig and they got a nice rig, you got to kind of, I don't know, man. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like we should be boys. You roll up, you gotta, but like you're into the same stuff I am.
yeah.
That's who I want to talk to.
Dude, I can talk fishing forever. And I get that.
I
And
think
I
you do.
also, yeah, I've been told at work before, dude, do you just sleep, tackle, and fish? I'm like, yeah, I guess. But I also do feel the opposite, too. There's, with all the nice boats, electronics, and everything, I've seen a little bit of, my guy's got a 91 Stratus. I'm not cool with that. You know what I'm cool with?
I'm not cool with
Get
that
out on the
either. I guess
water
that's what I'm
any
saying.
way you can. People dog. I sold my boat years ago. Got to put family forward. My plan is to have one in the next year or two. Don't really give a crap how new it is, but let's not dog people for getting out of the water. I see people on Instagram and all that. Well, you ain't even got a boat or blah blah blah, dude. Go fish off the bank and tell me how easy it is. It is bank fishing's tough, and the guys that are good at it, I got a lot of respect for. And then you got
That's where all this. That's where a lot of this innovation from the Japanese. I
yes,
mean, those Japanese guys are fishing from the bank, figuring out how to catch fish, and we're stealing their techniques.
I know it's crazy. And then the other one that gets me is the bait snobs. Like, well, if it ain't JDM or if Megabass didn't design it, or that 6 cents or that Strike King bait, it's just a poor man's Megabass. Buy the real thing, dude. If you've ever been to Japan, there's a lot of plagiaristic stuff on USA stuff as well. I mean, I've said this.
The to your point, I marshaled with Takumi Ito.
Right.
And so there was a time period where we could really kind of chat and without bothering him. And dude, the Zoom swamp crawler
Oh yeah.
is like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a big deal for
Mm-hmm.
them. Like that's the way they wacky worm and drop shot and all that. And I was kind of asking him about baits, and he was like, he rattled off some other stuff I didn't know what he was like. Zoom swamp crawler. Psst. Yep, he said Taku loves Zoom swamp crawler.
Hellabass is punch fishing. He's talking about. I'd be talking about rod snobs if I was talking about punch fishing. He's a Limus fanboy. And hey, I ain't got nothing against Limus, man. Their stuff's still made in America, other than the E6X and their low end made in Mexico or whatnot. But at the end of the day, I feel like this. whether you like Guggen rods or baits, and I know I dog them all the time. I'm personally not into them, so I'm not going to buy them. If you're going out there fishing, you're catching your fish, have at it, man. Have at it. You know, I'll say it and again. I may not be able to stream and get 110, 200 viewers or whatever we're going to get, or 1,000 views after the show, if the Guggens hadn't made YouTube kind of a popular destination for fishermen. And you're right, there's still a struggle between the professional anglers and the YouTubers. Like, some YouTubers want to be pros, and some pros want to be YouTubers. I just want to talk about baits and have great conversations with people like yourself. And it also gives me gives me an outlet to get on here on Saturday night and express my frustrations with Tennessee athletics.
Well, you can. Hopefully, you won't have to do that this Saturday night as they play Tennessee Tech. But then I think it's then it gets a little tougher.
We got to go to Florida.
We'll both be frustrated later.
Yeah, so I won't stream because we play Florida on that Saturday night. So if I stream, it'll be after the game. So I am going to try to start doing a little bit more Friday night stuff. It kind of works out better with the family schedule and whatnot. So, dude, it's
good. We enjoy your streams, man. I love what you.
Man, I appreciate it. I wish I could do more. I actually got some fishing stuff I need to throw up because I do catch a few fish every now and then. But I'm gonna let guys know. Bo, you might notice, dude, my Instagram's going crazy. I've gained like 1,000 followers in the last couple of weeks. I'm putting out IG live stuff. I'm going to start doing the reels. I really feel in the next year or two, a lot of this content is really going to be moved over to Instagram because they're fixing to start monetizing stuff. And yes, it's going to be about the money. But it's hard to do it across a bunch of platforms. I started out streaming off my kitchen table on my personal Facebook account, and people thought it was cool. And then, love him or hate him, Fletcher Shyrock said, "Dude, you need a Facebook page. Call yourself the Baitman and whatnot." And I started.
That's where it came from.
And so I started on my Facebook page, and then I started downloading them and uploading them to my YouTube channel. And then I don't like a lot of features on Facebook. Like, once the chat goes by, you pretty much can't see it anymore, and some other things. And so I moved to YouTube. Hey, YouTube caught says spot sticker shad spinnerbait, the Baitman color. You have anything to do with that? Oh, do I? Do I have anything to do with the Baitman color? Yes, YouTube plots. I designed that color right there. That's the chartreuse, the jank juice, and the spot sticker.
Whew.
Dude, this catches them. It really does. I've caught several fish on this year. This spot sticker spinnerbait holds up pretty well. I know every time, anytime Ryan Coleman spot sticker, they did the East Tennessee Fishing Show, which I'm sure you've gone to. Dude, they sell.
I bought some spot stickers.
They sell
dude,
a ton of spinnerbaits, and the one that always sells is the one with the red kicker blade. That double Colorado red kicker bait, orange. I said, dude, you need to do an orange and white skirt with the orange kicker blade. You'll sell a bunch just to guys that, I got a Tennessee spinnerbait.
UT spinnerbait.
That'll catch fish. That dirty water. Man, that's fish like that sucker. So I'm gonna go to the East Tennessee Fishing Show this year. I didn't go last year because of COVID and all that. If Tennessee's open, which they are, and there's not crazy restrictions, I'm going. So we'll have to meet up and do dinner. And I really want to go tour some of these tackle shops in East Tennessee. And
hey, so don't you know? We got a couple good ones. So McKee's.
Dude, I order from Matthew McKee all the time. He texted me this afternoon and said, "Man, I just ordered a ton of," if y'all didn't see it, the draw glide bait from 6 cents. He said he got 10 of every color they had available. So if you didn't get one of these, Tackle Warehouse will have them next week, I'm assuming. But you might can call Matthew McKee over there at McKee Outdoors. He will ship them. He's a great guy.
Dude, listen. You talk about a fish head. Like, he's just hustling, getting people what they want. He will help you put a deal. If you communicate with him. Like, I love having a local tackle shop. I mean, we have a Bass Pro Shop Sevierville down the road, but like that's a real tackle shop dude getting the local stuff and will work with you. The other one, there's one right there off I-40 when you come to Knoxville called Big Fish Outfitters right there by
I've
Melon
heard
Hill.
that.
He's got a bunch of 6 cents, but dude, he's got a nice shop and he's got the stuff well
I've heard
stocked.
that. What?
And he's got a little kitchen in there now serving like hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken. So you can hang out in there, do a little tackle shop, get
And
you something
then
to eat. I love his
Watson's
place.
Marine over in Bristol. You know, he had his own Bass Tricks
Yup.
color, Sexy Rexy. Don't you know? I got a bunch of them up there.
I
Yeah.
did.
You never.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So what I want to do, I want to pick a football weekend, which really this would be the weekend to do it. But you know, take my wife. Maybe let the kids with the grandparents. Take my wife, let her get the tailgating experience. She's never been to Neyland for a good tailgate. She's never been. She's seen the stadium. Love to get her there, and then me and Bo can just go to a couple tackle shops, and Bo can be the tour guide. And then I'll find that stuff in the corner that, like, dude, you know this is discontinued. You can whack them on this. That
Yeah.
I feel there's probably some
Saturday's a
untapped
noon.
potential there in Knoxville. I've always heard guys going to flea markets in Sevierville and Pigeon Forge and finding some good stuff.
I'm not spending my time doing that, but probably.
Yeah, I'll do that on my own. But you can give me a tour,
Yeah, you do that.
and
on
we'll
your
go
own.
tailgate.
I don't know. You got a hard time getting me to a flea market, bro.
Well, when you live in Western Kentucky, it's pretty much.
Listen. So you have an open. You got an open invitation to a ball game. I can get you a couple of good tickets
Right.
too.
Well, dude, it's almost been 2 hours. Guys, all 110, 20, 50, I forget how many. I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. And it seems like everybody's been a fan of Bo. And I'm really excited when I have a new guest and people are commenting, they're getting into it. And every guest I've ever had, everyone seems to like. But Bo, if you want to be a regular on the Baitman show, you got it. You want to come on once a month or one time you can. I need to get you and Epic Eric on the same stream, a triple threat, because you really get you can get some questions for Eric and y'all can dive in.
Yeah. I think I see the bass fishing world a lot like Epic Eric. He loves fishing with somebody else he loves the camaraderie of two guys in a boat together. And yeah, he tournament fishes, but that's not the end all be all for him. He loves that part of it, and he's a geek too, like me. Yeah, I see the world a lot like he does, I think.
Well, I'm going to sign it off like that. And, guys, I'll draw for tomorrow night. I'm going to stream same time, maybe later. I may do it at like 9 o'clock after Rudd and his guests and whatnot because I like to watch Rudd stream. So, got to draw a winner for that 6 cent Super 6 sack. And y'all stay tuned on Instagram and YouTube. I'll have a couple other giveaways. And I'm going to jump off here. I'll end the stream. Guys, leave a comment after the stream. Got to help that algorithm. Let me know. You like Bo? Hopefully, if you don't like Bo, or maybe you just want to listen to Bo and not me,
Yeah, we might
just
want
leave me some feedback. What do you want to see this fall as far as what we talk about? Maybe some new guests and whatnot. And I'll make a thumbnail sometime tonight.